Welcome to Stitchy's World. My name is Caitlin and I am going to share with you some of my knitting and crochet adventures and a little bit of life stuff that happens along the way. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. And if you're coming back, thanks for coming back. You're in for a good one today because I actually have a very impressive, if I do say so myself, project to share with you. So let's get started. First of all, drum roll please, I have a finished object, sort of. It's the Elton Pullover. So, about a week ago I finished my Elton. As you can see, I use the term loosely. I haven't woven in my ends yet. But I am really happy with the way this came out. I did a 3/4 sleeve like the pattern suggested. I did the size 3. I struggled a bit with the neckline, but let me tell you, I do think it was worth it. Now, I thought I would have had this all sewn in and steam blocked by the time I did this episode, but I realized if I use that mentality for every episode, I'm gonna end up only doing these episodes like once every 2 months because it takes me a long time to get all of the details finished. But anyway, so maybe I'll share a little bit of the steam blocking process because it'll be the first time I'm doing it, and I just borrowed a steam blocker from my mom. So I think the last time I shared this project, I was making good progress, but I actually have no idea where I was on it. I really had no trouble with the picking up the sleeves. It was one of those drop shoulder construction, so you have to go around and pick up the sleeves. I'm not absolutely thrilled with the way the seam looks. It's the kind of yarn that really, I don't know, maybe all yarn shows your stitches like this, but some of them were a little looser along the edge, which resulted in a little bit more of a I don't know, gap where I skipped a stitch when I was picking up. But I did pick up the recommended number of stitches along the sleeves, and it fits really well. Where I ran into some trouble, the neckline. So I happened to catch an episode of Knit California's podcast, Leslie, and she was doing like a sweater refresh video where she went through some of the sweaters that she's made in the past and found ways that she could improve them. One of the things she did in her video was on her Duomo sweater, which I have not made myself, she decided to redo the neckline. And the reason she decided to do that is because it's a similar neckline as this, where you pick up the stitches along the neckline and then you put them into ribbing. I think it was ribbing. Well, that part's not really important. And she was unhappy with the way her neckline had turned out because all along the edge of the neckline she had little holes, little gaps. So in that pattern, there was a pattern note that you could do either the traditional pick up and knit method or to do the crochet chain method, and I had never tried that or even heard of it. So when I saw that episode, I thought I'll save myself some time and I'll just do the crochet chain pickup method. So what that is basically, it's like it sounds like. You're going to go into every stitch and just do a slip stitch into every stitch along the neckline with your crochet hook before you even start the knitting rounds. So I did that around the neck with the prescribed number of stitches in the pattern, minus a couple because I don't know where they went, but that's just how I roll. So I did that, and you'll see a picture I'm gonna put up of how that worked out for me. Basically, I had forgotten about the fact that a crochet chain with silk yarn has about 0 give to it, so it wouldn't even fit over my head. I was laughing too hard at that point to really be upset about it. So I said, well, I guess it didn't save me any time in the long run, did it? So I ripped all of that out. And then I decided, two things. One, this crochet chain method may not work for this fiber that I'm working with, the Knitting for Olive silk. I think that's just what it is, 100% silk. So I said, all right, let's go back to the traditional pick up and knit method. And I thought, you know, sometimes I take for granted that I know how to do a thing just because I've done it before, but I realize I don't always do things right. So I decided to watch a video on how to do the pick up and knit method. So I went to Very Pink Knits, which is my go-to because her tutorials are so clear. And what she pointed out in the video multiple times is that when you're picking up along an edge, be careful. Sometimes the edge wants to roll. You really want to get under both legs of that knit stitch as you're picking up, and that you're really right on the edge. So I watched that video, and then I decided, okay, now since I've watched the video, I can go ahead and do my own thing. So I went along and I said, first of all, never mind the number of stitches it says in the pattern to pick up, because I already know it's not enough. So I just went in and I went pretty much stitch for stitch, picking up and knitting, with the one difference of, instead of going right at the edge where I thought I would get those little holes along the neckline, I went one stitch in. So you'll see on the inside, I'm not sure how this is showing on camera, but on the inside, there's actually a little roll of fabric because that's the true edge stitch. I went kind of down one because I really wanted to make sure I had a nice solid neckline, which I think I'm happy with it. I don't think it had any holes except for one, as I'll show also on the screen. And isn't that always the way, that if you get a gap or a messed up stitch, it's always front and center? At least that's how it works for me. So I sent that picture to my mom and she said, you need to walk away. So I did. I went out for a walk. And finally, once I came back, I was able to do the same method and just be a little bit more careful in that one area. I really like the way the neckline came out. I don't think it has holes and gaps like I was afraid of it having. Now, I'll try it on now so you can see the fit, but this is not the ultimate fit because, like I said, I'm going to do some blocking with the steamer, and I didn't finish weaving in ends. I did some of them. I did many of them, actually. There's probably only a few left. But I love it. This is my Elton. So I did notice, now this might look a little funny because I'm wearing something under it that has like a ruffle sleeve. But I did notice that there's a little bit of a difference in the front and back of where it hangs. I'll try to get a better picture, but just for kicks and giggles, here it is, the Elton. I love the feel of it. It feels very luxurious. I've never knit with these fibers before. I was using the kids' Knitting for Olive silk, and then the other yarn was the Cowgirl Blues Happy Days mohair, kid silk mohair, 100%. So it's got a nice fuzz to it. I don't know if you can see. I love that. It doesn't feel itchy at all. It feels nice and warm, but also because it's such a lightweight thing, I think I can get a lot of use out of it, like during transition seasons, which I feel like in New Jersey, we're always transitioning between seasons. Unlike in Phoenix, where it was like hot, 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 and then boom, kind of cool, kind of comfortable, and then I went back to hot, 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 hot. Anyway, so this is my Elton Pullover. Ask me any questions you want about it. I really enjoyed making it, except for the neckline. And even now the neckline does not have much stretch to it. I think that's just a matter of the yarn that I used. But I think it's a nice shape and it sits pretty well. I'm a little concerned in this upper right side. You can see how it kind of buckles out. I probably could have gotten away with skipping a couple stitches as I picked up the edge on that little part of it. But other than that, I really, really love it, and I can't wait to steam block it and hopefully not ruin it in the process. And then I'll be able to do like my finished, real finished object photos. So, yay! I wanted to show I had a little bit of leftover yarn. I'm trying to be better about my leftovers. I have a way of, oh, that's what I should do. I should put the little yarn label in this bag. I have a habit of leaving leftovers as little yarn orphans in my drawer and somehow losing all of my yarn labels, so I never know what I have. You know, you always think you're gonna remember, and then you don't. So there it is. I'll label this. I'll put like a little note in it, and that way I'll have it all organized. I don't know what I'll ever make out of just these little bits, but I have them if I need them. Now I want to share with you some of the things I found at Dollar Tree. If you don't know, I love Dollar Tree. I love going in there and seeing what you can get for $1.25. And this time I picked up some things that I thought could be useful for knitting. This is something I already have, but I bought another set because I wanted to share it here, and also because they're slightly different sizes, I believe. These are Pom Pom Makers, and they're what I think to be the easiest way to do pom-poms. And since I do a lot of little animals and things, I thought pom-poms are a good idea. Also, pom-poms are so fun. Who doesn't love pom-poms? So I'm gonna open one up and show you basically how you use it. If you haven't used one before, basically, if it works the way I think it works, and we'll find out in a second. Yes, it does. So it's a little loose, but basically, there's gonna be a way to open it on one side and the other. And what you're gonna do is wrap your yarn around this little arc until it's really full, and then you can close it. And then you wrap your yarn around this little arc until it's nice and full, and you close it. Then you can see there's a gap between this. No, wait a minute. Erase that. Can't remember how you use these. I can't remember. Oh, there's directions. No, I was right. I was totally right. So you wrap it around the outsides with these two pieces held together, and then you use your scissors, very sharp pointed scissors, to cut along the yarn along this ridge all the way around. Then you can take a long piece of yarn, wrap it around, pull it tight, wrap it around again, pull it tight, tie it a couple of times, and then you can pop it off of the thing. And oh, I think you have to, yeah, say to do that. It doesn't say to do that, but that's how I do it. I pull the thing apart, and there's your pom-pom, and then you gotta trim it. Anyway, there's lots of, I'm sure there's lots of videos that show how to do it, although I've never watched one. Maybe if I watched a video, I'd know how to do it. Next, I want to show some crochet hooks that I found at Dollar Tree, and I was surprised that they have crochet hooks now, but not too surprised because they've had knitting needles for a long time there. They have plastic ones and they have aluminum ones with actually a rubber handle, which was really surprising. So I picked these up, not because I need crochet hooks, because I actually am very, very happy with the ones that I use, but I thought this would be really cool for my crochet club at the library that I teach for kids. But I want to test them out first. Also, this is the one that I picked up. They had different sizes, but I didn't want to go overboard because I had already picked up a bunch of little things at this one trip. So this one is the aluminum one, and it's got a pretty nice handle. Let's take it out of the paper. I said it was a rubber handle and I was wrong. It's actually a hard plastic handle. But it's at least something a little more to hold on to, a little groove for your thumb to go into. So I think this will be all right to work with. I'm not, I was gonna say I'm not fussy, but I am super fussy, just because if it if it's like enjoyable for every stitch, then I'm gonna stick with it. If it's a struggle for every stitch, then it takes the fun out of it. I found some buttons. I'm always picking up buttons. I love buttons. And these I picked up because they're dark colors. And I know my fox has been waiting for eyes, my poor fox. So I thought I could pick some out and put them on her, and she can at least see while she's waiting for her linen stitch coat. If you've missed my earlier episodes, I'm working on the Knitted Animal Friends by Louise Crowther, and I'm making Charlotte the fox. Right now, she's done with the exception of her eyes and features, but her outfit is in the works, and I'm doing a linen stitch coat for her, which is what the pattern book suggests she wears. And my oh my, is taking a long time, so that's kind of what I'm alluding to here. I picked up some embroidery thread. I thought it was a good thing to have. I have a lot of different colors now, probably more than I need, but I'm always needing black for the features on the Animal Friends. Usually they have a stitched mouth, nose, sometimes around the eyes. So this is what I found from the Dollar Tree in their section of craft supplies. And then along those same lines, I picked up some thread, just in different colors. I think I would buy less of this kind of stuff if I were better at organizing my knitting and crafting supplies. I'm aware of that, and I'm willing to make some changes, but it's a chore, so I just haven't gotten to that point yet. And the last thing that I bought at Dollar Tree was to make a tutu. And I didn't end up doing this, but the idea was I was going to make Victor Frog a second time. Actually, I still have him. Victor Frog, I think, is in my closet. He's from the Animal Friends of Peek-a-Pow, and I was gonna put a little tutu on him because my cousin had a baby shower and the theme was tutu cute. So I thought that would be really cute if I gave her a little amigurumi with a tutu on it. I didn't end up getting that far along to be able to do that project for her, but I did find tulle that they had at the Dollar Tree in purple and in pink. And I found this really cute trim pack that I thought would make a nice little waistband. And then all I was gonna do was basically make a ring of elastic and then cut the tutu into strips, the tulle into strips, and loop it around with a half hitch knot to make a little tutu for whatever character I was working on. I just figured, even though I missed that opportunity, it doesn't mean that I won't want to make a tutu in the future. So if I ever need a tutu for an amigurumi, I'm set. Next, I want to tell you about new projects I'm working on. So about a month ago, I went to the New Jersey Sheep and Fiber Festival. I forget where it was, but it was really fun and I got a lot of yarn. And one of the kits that I picked up was for a shawl from You Knit Sew. It's called the Tomte Treasures Shawl. Now, this shawl I had a hard time finding on Ravelry. I don't think it's there. It's designed by the Gnotty Gnome, and they have their own webpage, the Gnotty Gnome, with different knitting and sewing patterns. But this is Tomte's Treasures, and it's a shawl that has 3 colors, at least the kit I had. The pattern that I found when you scan the QR code on the kit to access your free pattern from the website actually called for 4 colors. So that was a little strange, but I just followed what the picture had shown where they did 3 colors, so you repeat the 1 color. So basically, this is a triangle shawl. It's knit up in the DK weight Lusso yarn in 3 different colors. This first color is called Water Mint. This second color is Flamingo. And the third color is Galaxy. And I have been addicted to this. I'm close to finishing it, but if you've ever knit shawls before, you know how deceptive that end final push can be because you're getting so many stitches on your needles. I'm up to like 230 stitches now, so each row takes me a good 15-20 minutes. But it starts up at the neck with a garter tab, and you are adding stitches every time along the center spine and also along the edge. So there's a little garter edge of 3 stitches and a spine down the middle with kind of a knit that goes throughout. I'm really enjoying this yarn, first of all. So after knitting with the knitting for olive silk and mohair, that was a very fine fingering. I mean, especially the mohair, that's like lace. So I was knitting that on quite small needles, actually a size 3. And I had forgotten that progress is so much slower with small stitches. So when I read that this pattern called for a size 7 needle, knitting with this DK weight yarn, I was excited about it, and it just feels buttery to knit with. So that's been really, really fun. I am now into section 11, I believe. It alternates between this is just the start of it. So this first pink section is a garter section. Then you do a knit mesh section, back to the garter. This is a little diamond detail in the water mint color. Then we get down to more of the garter, mesh, garter. And then this is called Tomtes Treasures. Now, I wish I would have studied the pattern a little bit more before I jumped in, because this section here is like the featured section. It's the Tomte section. A Tomte, if you don't remember in my previous episode, Tomte is like a little gnome. So the section is called Tomtes Treasures. So I think it's like little gnome footprints. I think that's what it's supposed to look like. The problem, I think, is that the yarn that I am using for that section is a little too busy. And I feel like this is often what happens with hand-painted yarns if you're not careful. And all that hard work that goes into making that pattern feels a little bit lost. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I hadn't had the forethought to read through and really picture in my mind what that was going to look like. Because if I had, I would have probably chosen to do it in the flamingo. I really love pink, and I think that it would have been more predominantly pink of a shawl, and you would have probably seen the details a bit better. Now, it's not finished yet. Like I said, I still have, I think, about 4 more sections, but this is the only time I'm doing this section. And I'm hoping with some blocking, it'll open up and I'll see a little bit more of the detail, because it's almost like a little leaf pattern. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Have you ever had that problem before where you're knitting a real busy yarn and you have a busy pattern and you just feel like it doesn't really showcase either the yarn or the pattern very well? I'm not criticizing the pattern. I love the pattern and it's a lot of fun to knit. I haven't knit a shawl successfully in a while. I did try one last winter and it just was, I ended up frogging it. Either that or it's somewhere hidden in a drawer. I'm probably gonna have this one finished this week, I'm guessing. But we'll see. I'm having a lot of fun with it and that's what matters. While I'm on the subject of frogging things, I want to, first of all, mention this sweater that I'm wearing. This is the Spring Garden tee. I'll put the designer's name up because I forget it. I made one of these years ago, ruined it, got rid of it. But this one is from my sister-in-law, and it's knit by my mom. And I love this sweater. I love the yarn. I love the pattern. I loved it so much that I wanted to knit it a second time. And I had started and I got pretty far. I wish I had taken a photo to show, but I didn't, so you'll just have to believe me. I probably got to about here on the ribs, if you can see. And I ran out of yarn. I knew I wasn't gonna finish it. I had a little bit on a ball left, and I just decided after, oh gosh, maybe 5 years of it sitting on the needles, sitting on the cord anyway, I decided to frog it. So I harvested 3 balls of Louisa Harding mulberry silk yarn. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this yarn now. We being Mom and I, figured out what the yarn was by a little research and vague memories that we had of where I had purchased it. And yeah, I don't know what to do with just silk. Like, I don't even know. I feel like this color used to be blue. Like, I used to think of it as blue, but now it to me looks like a washed out gray. Maybe that's because I'm comparing it to the blue that I'm wearing, but I really don't know what to do with it. But I knew I didn't want it sitting on a cord forever and ever and ever. So I harvested the yarn. I've got it. I should put a note saying what it is and store it somewhere. Somebody's backing up. I'm going to talk a little bit about things I'm excited to get working on now. If you haven't ever come across Nomadic knits, I highly recommend them. They are a pair of knitters and crafters who go across the country, the United States, and they publish these, I guess, issues, we'll just call them issues, of pattern books that highlight different yarn designers, indie dyers, yarn stores, pattern designers across the country. So this issue is issue 12, Utah, Nevada, and I wanted to show you a vest that I have my eye on. Yes, this is the vest. It is called the, what the heck is it called though? The Bryce. Okay, this pattern is called the Bryce by Afifa Saeed, and it's a beautiful 2 ways worn vest out of bulky yarn with a little detail in the middle of the torso. I love it with that kind of cowl neck, big loopy loose neck. I just think it's so nice. I don't have any yarn that I'm planning on doing it with, but I had the idea if I don't have a bulky yarn, I'm pretty sure if you hold 2 strands of DK weight together, you get bulky. So I'm wondering if I could do it out of that. But not that I have DK yarn that I'm like wondering what to do with. I have 2 skeins of DK, but I don't think I'd have enough to do this. So anyway, this is a pattern that I have my eye on for when I'm ready to cast on for another project. In an upcoming video, I hope to share with you some of my some of the vests that I've discovered while looking for a vest pattern to make. So that was definitely one of them, top of the list. And I think it's the only bulky weight pattern that I found for vests. Also, I want to show you some of the books that I'm excited to work from. I used some of my birthday money from last year to buy these amigurumi books. So I picked up Aquatic Amigurumi, and this is all by Natasha Tishenko, Natura.crochet. And these patterns are so vibrant and fun, colorful, textured, with really cute little stories. They're just kind of zany patterns, which is exactly the type of thing that I go for. Oh my gosh. Now, honestly, I found this book when I was thinking of making for my cousin who's having a baby. She said that her nursery is going to be like nautical themed. So I thought I would get a pattern book of nautical themed crochet things. But I don't know that these are really like meant for a nursery. You know, they've got you could embroider the eyes, but I know the issue of safety eyes. You never want to have safety eyes with an infant. So it would just be a decoration, and I'm like fairly certain this is not the vibe of her baby's nursery. But once I found the book, I couldn't not buy it because it looked like so much fun. I'm looking at these patterns. I'm just looking at these pictures and loving them. I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to show you the pirate. Oh, no, I'm going to show you a couple more. Here's Ernest the seagull. Okay, here he is, Valentine the pirate. He's so gnarly with so many details. I love him, and I really, really want to make him. I have yarn that I could use for these guys. I have to finish some things. So maybe this will be motivation now for me to finish some of the things I'm already working on, such as the unicorn from Pika Pow Animal Friends 1, and what's the other thing I'm crocheting? Oh, the Sophia doll from the Golden Girls kit. Is that all that I have right now? I think those are the only 2 crochet patterns I'm working on, so hopefully I get to this soon. Also with my birthday money, because I wanted to just kind of treat myself to some more inspiring books, I picked up Unicorns, Dragons, and More Fantasy Amigurumi 2. I haven't done any of the other ones. I don't own the other book. This is the only one I own in this series. But they also have really cute patterns. There's nothing in this that I bought it for. I guess maybe the unicorn, because I was kind of interested in trying like a variety of different unicorns. But I would say the unicorn isn't necessarily my favorite pattern from this book. There are so many great patterns. Now this book and the Aquatic Amigurumi are both published by Meteor Books. I love their books. They're always really aesthetic and beautifully done. The aquatic one though is all one designer. One pattern designer created all of the patterns in this book. This one is from various different designers, so you're gonna notice different style. You know, I'm sure in the making of these patterns they're gonna be different standards of how they're writing them up. Hopefully they have a really good editor. I haven't used a book like this before where they're all different pattern designers. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to you don't say cast on for amigurumi, what do you say? Start one of these patterns and let you know. And then finally, I want to show you this book that I'm so excited about, Mouche and Friends. This one is Seamless Toys to Knit and Love by Lane Publishing, and the patterns are by Cynthia Vallet. Cynthia is a knit amigurumi designer from France? Yes. Living in Nantes, France, with her husband, 4 children, and furry companions. And what I'm really excited about these animals, as opposed to Louise Crowther's, which I love and I will continue to make, is these are seamless. So they come together and they come to life a lot earlier in the creative process than something that has to be seamed up. So when you're knitting a leg flat, you don't feel necessarily like you're knitting a leg. But if you're knitting something in the round and you're starting with the head and working your way down, you can really kind of see it come to life. So I'm so excited about these guys. They are so cute. This is Mouche. He's a little polar bear in his pajamas. Hazel, a squirrel, Forest, the bison, and these, as far as the storyline between the animals goes, they all know each other. They're like a little, kind of picture like Richard Scarry's Little Town. That's how I picture these animal friends, that they all have like an interrelated story. And I haven't come across that, such a strong theme of that in the other animal friends books that I've done, that I've worked from. So I'm so excited to get into these. Hopefully this will be cast on soon. I need to do a little bit of planning on this project because I do want to make sure that I've got the yarn I'm going to need and the tools. Since it is in the round, I need to dig out my smaller gauge. I believe it's all fingering or DK? Fingering weight yarn. So these are all made up in fingering weight yarn. Granted, you can do whatever gauge, you know, whatever weight yarn you want, and they're just gonna change in size. But I want to do the fingering weight, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of planning on this one, but I'm really, really excited about it. As you know, I've mentioned it in a couple episodes now. I'm so excited for my Beatrix Potter Peter Rabbit book to arrive. I love little magical worlds of animals and making them. I'm gonna check and see when the delivery date on that book is. Oh, I'm not gonna, because my phone is here. But I can't wait, and I will definitely be showing that off in a future podcast episode. So finally, I have one more segment, and that is just a little bit of life. Give me 1 second. All right, so this past weekend, I traveled back up to New York to participate in a golf tournament that was in memory of my Uncle Jack. It was the Jackie Love Memorial Golf Tournament, the first annual benefiting hospice in memory of my uncle. So here's my little golf club towel, which I didn't use at all, but really should have because it was super muddy when we played. I was on Jack's team. We all got to wear these pins, and Mojo, believe it or not, we walked away from that tournament winners. We were the worst team. This little trophy gets to stay in my house for a year until the next tournament. Dead last in the Jackie Love Memorial. And boy, what an honor it is to accept this award. And that's about it, friends. Thank you again for joining me for this episode. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.